Hi there, Aries. Hope you guys had a great December and a happy holiday. This is your January 2017 general reading. And it's going to be pertaining to about the first 2 weeks or so of January. Okay. So let's do these three. They came out together, and we'll do the Empress as well. Okay. These three here. And I'm just going to set the Empress over there. Okay. Now I'm feeling there's a lot going on in the mental realm. So maybe some brooding energy, right? Some thinking upon the past, which is mostly normal. It is Mercury retrograde. So another sign got this card actually that popped right out as well. So there is this sort of theme of looking back, thinking back to the past, and being reminded of events or situations or people, you know, even an emotional perhaps dissatisfaction with some aspect of something. So now let's get to the rest of the reading. We're going to be doing the Celtic cross, so the same as last time for last month's reading, and I'm just going to shuffle it a bit more, and then we will begin. Now, in this position here, we're going to have your distant past followed by your recent past. Following your recent past is going to be your current situation, your current energy state. Following that card is going to be the help or hinder card, sort of like the advice card. Following that is going to be your near future card. Following your near future card is going to be your hopes and or your fears. And following that, at the very bottom corner here, is going to be your final outcome. Then crowning the reading, we're going to have 3 cards. The first being the energy that you really stepped into that helped lead you to your current state. Following that is going to be the environmental energies card that sort of lies at your feet as you move forward in the month. Following that card is going to be the last crowning card of the energetic pathway that you're sort of moving into, the most likely outcome, as some may call it. So, without further ado, let us just give it a last whirlwind of a shuffle. I'm feeling the energy of wanting to do things, right? Of wanting to have sort of a high level of activity, being eager in some way to do something, to even perhaps get things going or make headway, make progress. Definitely hearing a headway, but progress as well. And I'm also sensing somewhat of making a decision, going back, reassessing, kind of this like back and forth shuffle a bit. right? Wanting to make progress, but maybe not knowing how exactly to step forward, right? Okay, you got a lot of energy going, Aries. A lot of energy going. There's anticipation. There's the desire for growth, for a new beginning in some way, right? The desire for clarity. You want the structure. You want to move forward in a systematic way. But maybe there is this sort of oscillation, this going back and forth of some sorts. Okay. I feel like you have a lot of options. I'm really sensing that. A lot of options. Right? Shuffling through the options. A lot of pondering and considerations. Okay, so this is it. Deep past. Recent past. Current state. Help or hinder card advice position. Near future. Beautiful. Okay. Hopes and or fears. The final outcome. Now we have such a full spread here. Let's make way for the others here. And the moon is currently in your sign in Aries, so there is this buzzing fire energy that we have. Wow, my gosh, another sign got the same exact card in the same exact position. Very interesting. And it was also reverse. Ooh, lovely. Oh, lovely. Okay. I'm going to flip over the deck, and here we have the Emperor as a sort of theme of the reading here. Okay, so I'm going to set the deck somewhere. Let's see where we can squeeze it in. Okay, great. Let me just make sure that we are recording. Okay, excellent. And you can see everything. Perfect. Okay. So, what flew right out of the deck, right, was the Empress. And here you have, as your thematic card, the Emperor. They're a pair, right? They are a pair together. Now, in a way, right, the theme is the Emperor. It is the fire energy, right? It is sort of the master of his domain or her domain, right? So it's the more, let's say, masculine energy of this pair, right? You have the Empress, which is a very fertile, nurturing, in a way, grounded, sort of independent energy, and creative as well, intuitive. So when you have the Emperor, right, it's sort of this wanting to achieve this grounded stability, perhaps in terms of your personal identity, in terms of what you hope to achieve in the world, how you hope to be seen by others, right? There is this striving to sort of solidify that. And it's upright, right? This is what you want. This is what you're driving towards, right? In the pursuit of this sort of grounded use of your fire energy. And out pops the Empress in reverse. So if we're looking at these two as a pair, right, it's sort of the yin, the yang, the polarity of everyone's being, right? Everybody has that masculine side or that feminine side, not really in terms of gender, but just in terms of even the energetic expression or frequency, right? So there is the yin and the yang. Now, so perhaps, right, in a way they go together, right? These two halves make the whole of your being. When you have this Empress coming in reverse, it's sort of as if this completeness has not yet been achieved because you still have yet to really step into this Empress energy, this side of yourself, right? This really strong, independent, nurturing, self-nurturing, even of yourself, right? Even of yourself. Self-understanding, really, I'm getting that feeling as well with this card, as well with the moon in the background, right? It's this sense of she's in the dark, right? This beautifully rooted, growing tree is in the dark, but it's still glowing. She's still glowing, right? And it's a card of stability. Absolutely. It's a 3, right? 3 is a very stable, strong number. So there is a stability to this card, right? But it's one that is more sensitive, more subtle, more intuitive, but nevertheless independent and firm in one's standing, okay? So perhaps this is something that you feel that you might be lacking in, right? As you hope to move on to the Emperor energy, something else, another side of this progression of energies is holding you back, or of self-actualization. I'm hearing that quite strongly. And my gosh, right under the Emperor you have the 6 of Cups, okay? So there is this sense, this importance, right, to you of rooting, of grounding, of solidifying your place perhaps in the world, right? Your independence even, right? Even in an emotional sense, right? And this is in reverse, right? And that kind of brings me to look at the card as this looks like the tree, even though these are technically the roots, right? Even though they're technically the roots, it looks like a tree when it's in reverse. So this is sort of like saying, focus on the roots. There is a focus on the roots of the tree that you're trying to grow and establish, right, in the ground. And they are very much connected to your emotions and your emotional state and somewhat of a balance, right? The 6 of Cups, there are 6 cups. That's an abundance of emotional energy, right, inside of you, of creativity, of fertility. And they're balanced. So you have 3 on one side, you have 3 on another. Again, 3 is a very stable number. So when you have this sort of, this is like the alchemy in a way, right? The manipulation, right? The controlling of your emotional reservoir in a way that is going to really contribute to the growth of this tree, okay? This is like the underpinning of this. This is what's necessary in order to achieve this solidarity, this singularity, this really strong outward expression of who you are in the healthiest way, in the truest way. In the way that really grows, right, from the bottom up, from beneath the ground up, right? So there is a focus, an examination of the foundation of what you're trying to grow and put forward, okay? And right beneath that you have strength, okay? And these are both in reverse. So it's sort of saying these have not been, right? These have not been yet accomplished, tapped into, right, energetically, but they are necessary, right? They're the precursors to this Emperor energy that you're hoping to achieve and step into. So let us look, and you have a lot of major arcana here. You have a lot of major arcana. You have the Death card, you have the High Priestess, the Chariot, and you have the Emperor, and you have Strength here, and you have the Sun. So a lot of major arcana energy, a lot of very significant energy that is really propelling you forward on a journey that means a lot to you in terms of who you are, how you show up in the world, right? In your personal identity, okay? Now, let's take a look at the elements at play, right? Aside from the major arcana, let's see what we're working with here. So, you have okay. Okay, there's a lot going on here, right? You have 2 Pentacles cards sandwiched right together. Okay, earth. What's tangible in the world? What you really work towards in a systematic way. What you hope to accomplish, right, in a tangible way. And what you hope will one day bring you rewards, right? The work you do, the finances that you make and you involve yourself with. And out popped, right, this Seven of Pentacles as well, right in the beginning. Oh, you know what? You have another Pentacles card right here in your deep past, Son of Pentacles. Okay, so there is this sort of I'm sensing like a reverberation of energy, right, from your past. There is this sort of something, you're going back and forth between something really is important to you, right, that you've been concerned with in the past, maybe hoping to achieve in the past, in terms of your financial stability, in terms of your groundedness, right, in terms of your stability and your stableness, even if it's emotional or physical or spiritual, anything, right? Trying to come into balance in some sort of way. And it seems like that is sort of tethering all of the other energy here, okay? Sort of like a rubber band that's being pulled and everything in between it is getting kind of jumbled together. That's the feeling I'm getting. But nevertheless, it's the Son of Pentacles. It's the Pentacle energy. It's the earth grounded energy that you're really hoping to achieve, okay? Okay. Whew. Lots of energy, Aries. My gosh. And here we go, right beneath this Strength card, right? You have the Ten of Pentacles, right? The ultimate completion, the manifestation at its highest valor, right? At the highest level. Okay, this is completeness of a tangible project or venture, right? Of groundedness and stability. So, and it's in reverse as well, as are these three cards. So really there is this reference to this hope of achieving this stability and groundedness in a very complete way, right? In a whole way, from the ground up, right? And if we're reading it in sequence through the deck, you have Temperance right beneath that as well. So there is this need to be patient with yourself, patient with the process, right? Because it seems like there is a lot going on. There is a lot going on, right? It's not easy. You have these reversals, right? It's not easy. You have death. You have this death card. Sorry, you have this death card. So there is this need. You also have the Chariot. There is this need, okay, to be strong, to have strength, to really dig deep and establish those roots in a healthy way, in a conducive way, in a way that's true to you. Look at how many colors there are here. The cups, they're emotional, right? They come from within you and out to the world, right? It's an expression. It's a personal expression. And as is this card, very much a personal expression. There is so much independence in these cards, right? So much subjectiveness, right, based on you and who you really are and how you really feel and your experiences, right? So really let that bleed through, right? Bleed out your true colors, and that will form the foundation and the roots of this tree that you're hoping to grow, of your identity, right? And if you look at these two cards, they are very similar in color, right? It's almost saying, again, this is the precursor to this. There needs to be patience. There needs to be the fine attunement to the details, right? The nuances of our process, our progress, and who we really are, listening to ourselves, okay? Listening to ourselves as we establish our strength in our truth. And ultimately, our solidarity. Okay? The completeness of the two halves. Union of masculine and feminine. Okay? So, now, let's go again here with the elements. You have Pentacles, significant Pentacles energy, definitely related to stability, earthiness, groundedness, right? So there is this sense of wanting to bring that about, okay? That's what it seems this is really referring to, okay? And with these two cards right next to each other, right? You have the Chariot, another card of just independence, complete independence, movement forward, right? Unafraid, complete confidence and open-mindedness about the journey ahead, right? Focus, determination, and one that's guided really by intuition with this moon on the forehead, similar to the moon that we have here at the top of this Empress card. So you did have this in reverse, right? So there is this still, this energy has not yet been manifested yet, right? You want to step into this space, right? You want to achieve this, the strength of the Emperor, right? To achieve this way of looking towards your groundedness and your stability, right? The Son of Pentacles, it's really it's a strong, it's a strong value, right? Of the Pentacle energy, right? It's not a 1, or it's not an ace or a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or a 10. It's beyond that, right? So this is really, you want to step into the sort of archetype of one who is grounded in a way, right? The son, the daughter, the mother, the father, these 4 cards of any element really sort of represent the highest expression of that element, right? The archetype, sort of like the person, right, that embodies that element. So really you're hoping to step into it, right? It's almost like you want to, but something is holding you back in some way, right? You maybe don't have this sort of radiating confidence. Maybe this is the key that's still has not yet put into the ignition, right? The energy you haven't tapped into, right? So I'm feeling really, it's the joining of the two halves of yourself, really, that is holding you back from bringing the Son of Pentacles right side up, going towards what you want to accomplish, right? At one with the universe, at one with your truth, at one with your intuition, right? And taking it head on with confidence. Even if this is a new experience for you, even if you've never experienced this, the Sun, right? It's the youngest of the 4 archetypes of the element, right? It's not like the Father of Pentacles, right? Who's rather accomplished and experienced and successful already. It's like this is the new journey that you're embarking on, embodying this energy. So this is sort of, it's the beginning of this, and you're trying to bring that beginning forward and into reality, hoping to really move into that space, right? And embody the independent vision forward, right? Really, you're trying. I'm seeing this as an effort. But as you can see, this card is sort of black and white, right? There are no colors on here. You do have a pentacle here, right? Symbolizing sort of the groundedness, I think, in your venture, your vision forward. And you do have red framing this, right? Which is sort of the passion behind it. But it's not the center. The color is not the center, right? So you do have this passion of moving forward, but it's almost as if it's not being stepped into yet. It's latent. It's latent energy. Conceptually, you want this. Conceptually, you have your eye on this, and you are hoping to move forward into this energy, but it's not manifested yet, okay? So you then move into the 4 of Pentacles. Okay, the Four of Pentacles, which is sort of I look at this card as trying to manipulate your maybe resources, manipulate the way that you really it's really forming the foundation, right? Forming the stability with your personal strategy, right? This card reminds me of the kids when they have the strings in their hands and they like loop them on their fingers and they're making different shapes, right? So this is really like you actively trying to establish a foundation of some sorts, but it's still in progress, right? It's still in progress. They're not set. They're still being manipulated and moved and shaped the way that you want it, right? So, and it's in reverse. So you have, this is still in progress. That's what I'm feeling. Okay, maybe you're realizing that you need to look at the foundation of what you think really grounds you. Looking at the foundation of what you're hoping to grow, right? Again, looking at the foundation here as well. The roots. Okay? And taking this approach. So I'm sensing that you're still in the process of doing that, okay? Okay. Your advice card here is the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 of Pentacles. So, interesting, okay? You have these 2 Pentacles cards and they're together, right? You go from a 4 to an 8. This is in reverse here. The 4 of Pentacles is in reverse. The 8 of Pentacles is right side up. I'm looking at this as establish focus on something, okay, and pursue it. Just pursue it in a strategic way, in a way that you really stick to, right, and you continue with, right, because maybe there is this sort of, again, this oscillating energy, this distracting energy, perhaps, this feeling of not being able to just go forward in a direct way, right? You have the Ace of Swords in reverse, right? Again, this feeling of not being able to move forward in a very clear, direct path and way. There is still this energy of needing to figure out how to establish the foundation of what you want to move forward with, but it's really saying focus is your key. Focus is your key. Pick one thing, really set your mind to it, really attune your mind to it, and just work on it. Just begin doing it, okay, in a way that is, what is the word? Like, really sticking to it, right? Not floundering with it. And that will bring you this stability, right? The 4 and the 4 together, balanced on either side. It's no longer just the 4 being manipulated in the brainstorming, the blueprint sort of way. It's now you're reaping the benefits of this hard work, of this foundation that you've laid, and the emphasis is now on you to really move forward with it, right? This could be too much thinking even about how to go about something, right? Confusion. Look at these different strings that are pulling the pentacles together. It's somewhat confusing, right? So it's really, this card is about order. Establishing order, moving in a singular direction with focus, sustenance, okay? And having your focus on the central theme of what you want to accomplish and bring forward, okay? In your near future, you have the High Priestess, Major Arcana. This is the most intuitive card in the deck, okay? And it's beautiful. It's beautiful that it's here in the near future because, right, there is this element of intuition perhaps that you're not yet tapping into fully in its fullest sense, right, of who you are as it really connects to who you are and pertains to your being, your truth, right? your truth, your independence, right? What really defines you as a being, you, right? So really stepping into that space, really bringing this card sort of right side up. Okay, tapping into the moon energy, into the comfort in not having all the answers, right? Not having all the let's say the logical clarity, but still having this comfort in having your intuition, right? Which is the guiding light in the dark, right? Really harnessing this chariot energy, moving forward in a way that is confident, right? And at one with your intuition, right? This moon is right on the third eye chakra area of this chariot, of this horse, really signifying that the movement and the action forward is really dependent on his or her intuition, okay? So really, you're going to step into that energy, it seems. You're going to really harness your intuition in a way that is confident, right? This tiger really is sort of reminds me of the strength card, the lion on the strength card. There is this just confidence, this repose, this, being at peace and at one with yourself and how you really feel about a situation, okay? Hopes and or fears, the death card. Okay, this makes perfect sense, right? Because death is about the letting go of a cycle, right? One cycle coming to an end to allow another to have its own birth and to be redefined in a new way, right? The dying off of something that no longer serves a situation or a person to bring about one that now does, right? To bring forward something of newness, the Ace of Cups, right above the Death card. So there is, right, this stagnancy, this stalling, right? And with these reversals here as well, there is this pause, right? This hesitation. There is a hesitation. There is this oscillation of going back and forth, not being able to decide really, not taking that stand, right? That first stand. There is a hesitation, perhaps a fear of letting go of maybe an old identity, right? The decaying of a part of you that that you once perhaps defined yourself by, right? As we move forward in this new way, really embracing a side of us that maybe is new, one that we haven't tapped into before, really. It can be a frightening experience. It can be, right? Discovering a new side of ourselves, really expressing our true selves, right? That process in and of itself can do away with another side of ourselves that we that once defined us, right? So it's the setting aside of what doesn't define us, of what doesn't serve us, and instead allowing the room for the expression of another part of ourselves that does. So that can be scary, right? Listening to your intuition can be scary. You're afraid perhaps of something, right, taking the place of this new step in your journey in a way that's frightening for you, in a way that makes you shy away, right? Makes you stall and linger in the planning phase, right? But hey, it's saying take this focus, start, do, make it real for yourself, really take the actions forward, right? To begin creating, right? Okay. Moving forward, you have the Six of Wands. Okay, so fire energy. You have another Wands card here. Fire energy. This is the Eight. This is the Eight of Wands. All right. This is your final outcome card. So before we get here, let's move here. Okay. In the energy that you stepped into that helped lead you to your current state. And let me make sure that we are still recording. Perfect. Okay. You have the Ace of Swords. Okay? In reverse. This led you to this Four of Pentacles in reverse. Okay? I see this as taking the stand, right? Taking the initiative, right? One that maybe you reasoned through, one that maybe you justified in some way for yourself. I'm going to take this new direction, right? This is going to be a new journey that I embark on in some sort of way, a decision that's made, a direction that's taken, but maybe in a way, right, that's not entirely enterprising, confident, one that you're still maybe wishy-washy on in some way, okay? Not having all the answers, right? But nevertheless, knowing that it is the direction that you want to take, right? Knowing that a direction needed to be, a new direction needed to be established, okay? So it leads right down to the Four of Pentacles in reverse, okay? This could be the reason for why you haven't yet made the step forward and that you're still in this planning phase, the stalling phase, right? Maybe because of the way that you initiated this first step forward intellectually, right? So maybe it's the way that you are intellectually approaching this situation, right? Perhaps is in a way that's not entirely understood for yourself or confident, right? There is a hesitation yet again, all right? Then, in your environment card, as you move forward through the month, in the first 2 weeks, you have the Eight of Wands in reverse. Okay. Now, these two cards are somewhat similar, as are these two cards, right? So there, about these cards, there is a sort of darkness and unknowingness, right? The Ace of Swords, it's the very first expression of the Swords energy. It's the first stand. It's the first word that's spoken, okay? There is sort of a unknowingness, right? The cyclical, what is the word? Cyclical, basically, it's speaking to a cycle, right? This is the cycle beginning. This is a cycle that's already underway, right? In probably a significant fashion where there are Eight of Swords and that signifies efforts, right? So accumulated efforts, right? Something in progress that's now being shaken up by some sort of unforeseen event in some way, perhaps. Something that sort of pushes you to make a change or re-examine something or some aspect of how you're going about things. Okay? And where you're concentrating your efforts. So I'm seeing this as almost like a revitalization as well. Okay? A revitalization. I'm seeing it with this card here. There is this centrality, this focus, okay? This central point, right? That is being highlighted, right? And zeroed in on. All right? So this is like a revitalization of what you're focusing on, how you're going about it. That's really what I'm seeing. There's monotony, right? There's no color in the background of this card with the Eight of Wands. It's sort of like all of the wands are proportionally aligned in a way that is almost unnatural, right? And order now, color. Sorry, not order, color. A burst, a flash of color, of vitality, of zest. Very much speaking to these cards here. Very much speaking to these cards here, right? Is now being almost injected into your actions, the way you go about it. So something is perhaps going to, what is the word? Like, spur you. Spur, that's the word I want to use here. Spur you to re-examine the way that you, what you're focusing on, how you're going about it, the way that you're setting up your wands, so to speak, the way that you are really projecting your efforts in a situation, right? And one that's going to inspire greater creativity, greater truth, right? And it's going to bring the life back into whatever it is you're doing, right? It's sort of like the lightning bolt of realization, right? I'm seeing it really with this card. Look at these two cards together, right? The sense of intuition, the sense of really awakening to your truth, awakening to what is real to you and how you really feel about something, how you really want to do things as it pertains to who you really are and what you really feel about a situation, okay? This is just like this card here. I'm seeing it just like this card. Look at the colors, right? The roots, the contrast between the black and the white, and yet the color, the burst of color, right? The emotional reservoir that's bleeding into the birth of this situation and of this independence and fruitfulness, right? These wands they're not trees yet. They don't form the branches to a tree or the tree trunk. They're just wands, right? They in a way are aimless. They don't really have a real contribution in a way that is fruitful to bringing you the groundedness that you hope to achieve. Here, the wand is the tree trunk, right? It forms the basis of this tree and of this groundedness. So you want to bring your efforts, right, into effect. You want to bring your efforts and your energy, in a way together that will really contribute to solid existence, solidarity. And one that is really exciting for you. One that is really, this looks bleak here, right? And this lightning bolt is bringing in a flash of passion, color, drive, right? It's the reestablishment, the reformulation of how you're doing things, okay? And right next to this card, it really goes hand in hand, okay? Really goes hand in hand. And when it's right above this card, also really hand in hand, because Ace of Cups, the renewal of an emotional cycle, right? Taking a fresh breath of air, right, after being in a stuffy room for so long, right? This is the revival of your emotional connection to the things around you, okay? So it's sort of like your environment is going to inspire, is going to bring about a new sense of an emotional perspective that you have towards what you do, how you see yourself, and the journey that you want to take forward, okay? I feel like this is going to be the push that makes you really move forward, right? Then you have, in your final outcome, this Six of Wands, right? And when we look at these two Wands cards together, the theme, like the color profile is very similar, right? But you have this rainbow up atop, and you have this flash of lightning at the bottom, right? And you have these sticks at the top and you have these sticks at the bottom here. It's almost like they're reversed, right? It's almost like this is the precursor to this. Zapping these wands, the wands falling, and the rainbow forming, right? That's sort of like what has happened here. So I'm sensing, right, that there is going to be this sort of the end to an old way of doing things, a hope. So that really speaks, I think, to the Temperance card as well, right? This beckoning for patience, hope, right? The dawn of a new day, right? Setting this, these old wands, efforts, and ambitions aside, this old way of doing things, and instead looking up at the rainbow, the ray of hope and light and color, the new day, the renewed emotional world that lies ahead of you in regards to this new beginning and this new start, which will be dependent on the letting go of these old wands, of what doesn't work for you anymore, right? And taking that that really ambitious, bold, confident, self-empowered, empowered movement forward. So let's look at the cards here that popped out. In the very beginning, you have a Five of Cups overlaying the Two of Cups in reverse, and the Son of Swords in reverse. Okay. I'm seeing this as somewhat of a regret. Looking back on something, feeling a sort of regret with maybe not having taken a swift action forward, movement forward with an emotionally satisfying situation, right? Again, this feeling of stalling, a holdback, a setback, of motion forward, right? Still in the phase of thinking, still in the phase of, not really going for it yet, not really being that Son of Swords swooping in and flying with direction and clarity, right? There is this sense of just maybe sulking, right? Even in the emotional dissatisfaction that you're feeling. Okay? And so we have the Seven of Pentacles that also popped out with the Sun in reverse, right? So again, I mentioned this briefly, I think, in the beginning of the reading, but this is really just speaking to the desire to move forward systematically, right? To gain order, to achieve order, groundedness, right? And really start seeing the results of your efforts in a way that feels stable for you, right? But the Sun being in reverse, similarly to the Empress, right? It's sort of like, look, the Sun and the Strength card. This was in reverse, actually, as well. The Strength card, right? Are so very similar. You have the Sun here, you have the Sun here. The Strength card is in and of itself a fire card. It represents, right, the fire element. Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, right? I believe mostly Leo, though, with the Strength card in particular. But nonetheless, it's still representative of this fire, this burst of color, right? This clarity, right? Seeing the sun shine, which is speaking so much to the color here in the Eight of Wands, speaking so much to the color here in the Ace of Cups, this renewal, right? So this is necessary. This renewal is necessary. You haven't yet established or found the clarity of direction with which you want to move forward in a tangible way. Okay? So, thank you so much. I hope this reading was helpful for you guys. Please do leave your comments below. I appreciate all of them that you do leave. And I am always curious to know how it resonates. So please do connect And I look forward to reading for you guys. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks, I'll be doing a mid-month January 2017 reading. So yeah, I look forward to it, and I'll see you guys then. All right, bye.